One of the most powerful concepts in the world of startups is the MVP, the minimum viable product. It is often misunderstood as a stripped down or half baked version of a product. But in reality, the MVP is a strategic tool. It's the simplest product you can put in the hands of customers that still delivers core value and allows you to test your riskiest assumptions quickly. The MVP is about learning, not perfection. But over the years, another concept has emerged alongside it, the MLP, or minimum lovable product, where the MVP focuses on utility and validation. The MLP emphasizes user delight and emotional connection. Together, these ideas form the foundation of modern product development. They remind us that building startups isn't about launching the biggest product on day one. It's about launching the right product at the right level of fidelity to learn, adapt, and grow. The MVP matters because it prevents founders from wasting years and millions of dollars building full products no one wants. At its heart, the MVP is a test version, a lean experiment with only the core features necessary to validate your assumptions. By releasing early and cheaply, you gain feedback before making big investments. The MVP also prevents waste. It ensures you don't overbuild or guess at what customers want. Instead, you let real demand guide you. By testing demand upfront, you avoid the heartbreak of pouring resources into something that never achieves traction. Finally, the MVP becomes the foundation for growth. It gives you data for smart iteration, the courage to pivot if necessary, or the confidence to scale once demand is validated. In short, MVPs protect founders from their own blind spots, allowing evidence, not ego, to shape the journey. This is why some of the most successful startups in history began with deceptively simple MVPs. The MVP mindset is not about doing less, it's about doing the right thing first. So, what exactly defines an MVP? It comes down to three core principles. The first is to create the simplest product that delivers core value. Strip away everything non essential. If your product solves 10 problems, focus on solving just one, the most important one. The second principle is to test the riskiest assumptions first. Ask yourself, what is the single biggest uncertainty about this business? Is it whether people want the solution at all? Whether they'll pay? Whether the technology works? Design your MVP to answer that question as quickly as possible. The third principle is learning over perfection. The goal of an MVP is not to impress investors with polished design or endless features. The goal is speed to market and user feedback. Even if your MVP feels scrappy, what matters is that it teaches you something you didn't know before. There are many forms an MVP can take. It could be a landing page with a sign up form to test interest. It could be an interactive prototype that simulates the experience. It could be a concierge service where you manually deliver the value customers will eventually get from software. Or it could be a Wizard of Oz test where the customer thinks the product is automated, but behind the scenes, it's still manual. These examples prove the point. An MVP is not about building less, it's about building smarter. While MVPs are designed to validate demand, the concept of the minimum lovable product emerged to address another challenge, building emotional connection with users. An MLP goes beyond functionality to create delight. The idea is to create small feature sets with big impact. Instead of trying to pack in dozens of features, you focus on a carefully curated handful that customers genuinely enjoy using, not just tolerate. The MLP is about building emotional connection early. It uses thoughtful design, personality, and user experience to make customers smile, to surprise them, to make them feel that this product gets them. For example, Slack didn't just deliver messaging functionality, it delighted users with polished onboarding, playful error messages, and charming animations. Customers didn't just use Slack, they loved it. And MLP isn't about waiting until the product is perfect. It's about being intentional about experience from day one. While MVPs validate demand, MLPs build loyalty. Now let's compare the two approaches. The MVP approach is centered on core utility. It asks the question, does this solve the problem? It focuses on testing product market fit with bare minimum features. It values speed, learning, and validation cycles. The NLP approach, by contrast, emphasizes design and user experience. It asks, do customers love using it? It's about emotional engagement, delight, and creating loyalty. MLPs are crafted with care, ensuring that even with a small feature set, the product feels special. Both approaches have their place. MVPs come first to validate core assumptions and demand. Once you have evidence that the problem is worth solving, you shift toward MLP thinking to build emotional resonance and customer love. The key insight here is balance. If you stopped at MVP, you risk building a functional but forgettable product. If you jump straight to MLP, you risk overinvesting before validation. Successful startups know when to use each approach. To illustrate these concepts, let's look at two case studies. First, Airbnb's MVP. In the early days, the founders built a simple website to rent out air mattresses in their apartment during conferences. It was scrappy, but it validated demand for peer-to-peer lodging. They didn't build a global platform on day one. They tested whether strangers would pay to stay in someone's home. Once validated, they scaled. Now consider Superhuman's MLP. This premium email client focused not only on speed, but also on design. Every detail was crafted to delight, from shortcuts to onboarding to subtle design touches. Customers didn't just find it useful, they adored it. The result was a cult following, with people eagerly paying premium prices for the experience. The lesson from both examples is clear. Start with MVP to validate demand, then evolve toward MLP to build love and loyalty. MVPs protect you from wasting resources, while MLPs protect you from being forgotten. Together, they create sustainable growth. The journey from idea to product is not about building everything at once. It's about building the right thing at the right time in the right way. The MVP teaches us to focus, to validate, and to learn before we scale. It's about stripping away the noise and testing our riskiest assumptions with speed and discipline. The MLP reminds us that products are not only used, they are experienced. Customers don't just want functional tools, they want tools they enjoy, trust, and love. The smartest founders know how to move between the two. They begin lean with MVPs that validate, and then evolve into MLPs that captivate. They balance utility with delight, evidence with emotion. This progression from viable to lovable is how startups not only survive, but thrive. So as you build, ask yourself two questions. Does this solve the problem? And later, do customers love using it? The answers to those questions are the roadmap to building products that matter.